right, for the whole lifetime, right? Now, because whether people like a movie or not, it's not apparent, obvious, almost, in the right beginning, right? For a lot of movies, as more people watch the movie, as more people talk about it, the popularity goes up, right? And of course, people are willing to pay more to watch the movie. So instead of doing a fixed dollar pricing, we can use token to do dynamic pricing. So the filmmaker or the producers, they don't need to actually charge $20 for the whole lifetime of the movie. I can start with a cheaper price, for example, right? Just to get people in. Okay, just come to watch my movie, maybe $5. But as more people are sharing positive review about the movie, are helping me to the marketing, the movie ticket price can go up to $15, $20, or even higher, depending on the popularity, right? So in this case, you see, it obviously will motivate the movie makers and the producers to create better content. And it, of course, is a way to also bring in the community. Because you see your contribution of sharing the movie, giving positive movie, is really helping yourself. Because the NFT ticket you bought with $5, now worth $15, right? And then feedback loop. Think about the mechanism we can embed it in for viewers to provide feedback directly and assisting the filmmaker to a more rapid filming side. And there are lots of other interesting things we can do, right? If you're familiar with many Web3 projects with, in the gamification and social, you know that there are tons of things we can do with Web3 technology. For example, if you look at those so-called external projects, right, StepN, Hello Kitty, they have tons of wonderful ideas of how to turn a traditional business into something you can play with lots of Web3 technology, like NFT. You can collect, right, all these different NFTs, and these NFTs, because they're programmable, once you combine different NFTs together, it will generate new NFTs, right? And you can always define some dynamic art. So this token-based engagement is very different from our traditional way of, you just buy ticket with a fixed dollar amount. Because token means that it's a representation of something underlying. And because it's not a dollar amount, it's dynamic and it's flexible. And then ecosystem. Digital collectibles, NFTs, related to movie, can easily bring you all the fans and maybe even people who are not originally your movie fans, because of these digital collectibles, right? Some people might be interested just in collecting your stuff, not necessarily because they like this movie experience. And then you can enlarge essentially your audience in this way. Okay, the last but not the least, the IP value. Okay, think about the spin-off opportunity. Okay, so the community can actually join the creation process. They can propose ideas, right? And they can vote for even to co-create the film, the content with the author. Right? This has already happened in many so-called DAO-based creator economy. Everybody will contribute according to your talent. For somebody is good at contributing idea, somebody is good at contributing a text, somebody is a good artist can contribute in terms of visuals. Okay? So when people contribute, their contribution will be recorded on the blockchain and accordingly, proportionally rewarded by the contribution. So this would not happen in real world if it's not a token-based economy. Okay? And then merchandise, this everybody already knows, right? With this NFT merchandise, the movie value can be very, very dynamic. And royalty tracking, right? Using smart contract and ledger. So I think, community building, I already said that. So let me play again, like Raymond, I'm gonna play
Independent film industry has been stuck into a second-class dilemma. Works from international filmmakers need to cross the B2B distribution bottleneck to eventually reach only a fraction of global audience. But now, innovative Web3 technology and rewarding box office B2C model bear fruit like ZEASN's worldwide devices. Introducing Relax Cinema. A powerful but democratic film streaming service to crash all the blocks. Filmmakers can submit their films and manage their distribution strategies on a decentralized backend built with blockchain. Choose dynamic pricing, NFT drops, and secondary exchange to maximize impression and revenue. Since every ticket will be a token, audience can explore new films in an unprecedented way. Interact with ranking tabs to discover when films were box office hits, hot NFT sales, or new drop pools. Access more immersive film experience with privileges and collectibles on NFT tickets. Choose your favorite payment, including token and popular crypto. NFT ticket holders will find your furnished gallery on TV and other smart devices. Collect, redeem, trade, and upgrade their favorite NFTs on the exchange app. Enjoy movies for a lifetime and more value than just hours of streaming. Filmmakers and fans, are you ready for a renaissance of films?
So I hope you're as excited as we are in this domain. And to make all this happen, there are a lot of research problems to look at. That's how SMU, this collaboration can help ZEASN. For example, all the tokenomics design, right? For the contribution, how do you quantify the contribution and link them to token value? Right? How to design the mechanism, the token price value for all these things. So these are all very, very open areas and frontiers in the Web3 domain. And I hope SMU, with the unique feature of being highly interdisciplinary, right, combining technology, business, law, e-com, we are able to provide this unique position and research capability for this company. Next, let me use a few minutes just to talk a bit beyond, right, this film industry. So it's almost like, I want to say something more like a position statement, why we are so into this Web3 thing. A little bit look back on the history of that. I know some of you have seen this, but let me explain it from a data scientist perspective, because I'm always a data person, and the past 20, 25 years of research and working data gives me this data perspective of Web3. So if you look back on Web 1.0, right, that's around, I remember very clearly, that's when I was in my undergrad days, right? So, and suddenly everything can be put online, okay? So we call it global library because what Web 1.0 gives us is the capability to move offline things online. And the significance of that is that we actually transcend physical distance. So if I have something, like if I want to read a book in New York Library, before internet, that's almost impossible. I have to travel there to read the book, borrow the book. But with Web 1.0, now I can read online the book, right? That's already a very huge change in the whole business paradigm. But in Web 1.0, the information flow is one way, right? We call it one-way data flow because all the centralized service, they release data, they put things online, and individual user, you and me, we can only read, right? So that's why the first generation Web 1.0 we call read, because internet to us is something to read. Now I remember clearly year 2004, 2005, that was when I was in US in my PhD days. And with YouTube, right, a company just created less than 2 years time, acquired by Google with 1.6 billion US dollar. Now at that time, it's a big news. And people were surprised, wow, I can actually put my personal videos online to be viewed by millions of others. So this is the first time you feel that so-called user-generated content, UGC, becomes possible. Okay? And for the first time, instead of just read, everybody can write into the internet. Okay? And what's the important thing about that? The important thing about that is all the so-called data intelligence, all the big data makes sense, because with UGC, everybody is creating data about ourselves. Okay? Now, if you think about it, 20 years ago, when I first get into my PhD days, we also work on very large data. But the data we look at are not related to everybody, to our life. We work on gene data, we look on satellite data, road network data. But those data are not about our lives, our everyday lives. So the data is not very relevant to business. Business cannot use that data to know your customer and to do all sorts of data intelligence business related to business, right? Because business essentially is about people. But with Web 2.0, with all the tons of data generated about ourselves, big data becomes relevant to everyone, to every business, right? So that's the big move of what big Web 2.0 offers. But now, 20 years, 15 years after Web 2.0 came to our life, we are no longer surprised by the nice services offered by YouTube, by Twitter, by these things, right? This becomes normal. But what we become uncomfortable is that these companies are using so much of our data, earning so much money, violating, challenging our privacy, and we cannot control our data in the way we like. In the end of the day, we feel that we don't actually own the data we have, right? So-called, you don't have the way to really benefit for what you contribute. So Web 3.0, the whole idea is about try to so-called sovereign data, right? The idea is that you control your data, you define the economic rule related to whatever you create or contribute. So that's why we call it a global data bank. So instead of read and write, now you can actually own the data. And it's all based on this binding, okay? This binding between entity and data. And depending on what data you define, if you use a social network in SocialFi, you're basically using social network to define your identity. If you use AIGC, you're essentially using your creative content to define the identity. In here, in ZEASN's ecosystem, you are using whatever people watch, whatever people play, whatever people use in your ecosystem to define person's identity or family's identity. Okay? So that's the whole idea. And you think about it, then the big business paradigm is that just imagine if you can define all the rules of how you can distribute, create value based on everything you create, how much change it will bring to all the business paradigm, right? So that's why in the next 20 years, we think this is the thing. And the last 2 minutes, let me do a bit of marketing, right? Because I'm still wearing the hats of Social Media for Partnership. So you're probably aware that here we're trying to initiate something so-called Web3 at SMU, right? It's not formally approved yet, so we don't call it a center or an institute. But essentially, we're trying to create a very closely integrated entity surrounding the topic Web3, combining education, innovation, and community. Okay, so I'm glad to tell you that finally we will have a new track, in our MITB program with Web3 vertical, right? And we were going to go up to even more sophisticated degrees. And we try to even define what Web3 actually means, because the word is very fuzzy nowadays. What we think is underlying supporting the notion of 3 is, for example, collaborative intelligence, right? This is a combination of AI and Web3. Now, I don't have time today, but there is a lot to talk about why Web3 and AI are perfect marriage. Because AI gives you what you can do, but it's neutral. It doesn't tell you what's good or bad, how to allocate and distribute value, how to govern things. But Web3 is something that we can use it to compare with AI to maximize its power. So that tokenized economy is where we leverage SMU's interdisciplinary research and study, and then secure asset management gives security to this whole thing. And here you see we have a bunch of companies that we are in different stage of collaboration, and ZEASN, we already witnessed this official signing. Thanks for the team. Okay, so thank you for your attendance today, and I'm happy to see that we witnessed this cooperation, and in the future, I'm sure we have more things to share with you. All right, thank you. Yeah. So let's have a break. Okay, let's have a tea break. After that, we have a small panel. Okay, just some fireside chat on this topic.